Good morning, welcome to Morning Outlook. This is Kim speaking on Monday the 30th of September. So looking at the data so far out this morning, we've got Chinese data out there. Manufacturing data came in, fifth consecutive month of contraction there at 49.8, but slightly better than previous. Non-manufacturing data came in sound at 53.7. Some other data there, CAC in manufacturing came in at 51.4. So it's not massively bad, but it's still obviously a slowdown in China, which is continuing to show up, and the risk seems to be off at the moment and continuing that way. So that aside, what we've got coming out today, we've got German CPI data out this morning, which comes through in different intervals throughout this morning, up to 12 or 1 o'clock. The UK, we've got the current account GDP data, final GDP data coming out at 9:30, and that's really it. And the Chicago PMI later on at 2:45, but normally quite low in terms of its volatility or effect on the markets. I say overnight, but later on tonight, we've got for New Zealand, we've got the business confidence figure coming out. They've just had quite a horrible business confidence number coming out. It's lowest for some time there, but still coming at 53.5, but previous was 52.3, but sorry, it's minus 53.5. Let me just get that right. Horrible figure. Anyway, there we are. That's where we are at the moment. So let's look at the charts. Actually, let's start off looking at the euro dollar, and as ever on the dailies here, what we got. I was looking at the weekly of the pound there, and the weekly of the. Sorry, I just flicked back to this because the. Nothing significant there, or such significance there on the euro. The euro at the moment, we're not too far away from its weekly pivot. Now the probability of being hit is always good. It may just get caught this morning as it runs through there. As we come through the chart, it's all over the daily at the moment. It's already started. I'd prefer, if I was trading this, to be post 8 o'clock. I really don't like these breakout movements pre 8. We often see quite a bit of volatility, then it completely reverses. So on that note, if it was to completely reverse, I would be looking, if I can get hold of my little there we go, looking at the charts here, I would be looking at a break at this sort of level, these lows here, to be on the downside. But at the moment it's got, as I say, got potential for that weekly pivot. Maybe it's R1, daily R1 there. The pound, on the other hand, this is why I was looking at the weekly. It's put a weekly pivot, a bearish weekly pivot swing in there, which is not particularly good technically. And we've seen a lower high come through on the dailies and last week, and it's well, sitting on its daily 50, which is also pointing south. It's not particularly looking great at the moment, and it's sort of stuck in this little wedge on a 4-hourly point of view, sort of finding its 4-hourly 200 as support. Where to with this? Well, if I see a breakdown this morning of the trend that runs across the lows there, I would be looking down towards that S1 sort of zone. So that's the pound. There is of course, I should say, there is the weekly pivot above. Now I'd really want to see it start making a bit of a correction above these key moving averages here, maybe, but at least something a bit more positive post 8 o'clock. For me to be even considering playing for that, and I think it's a hard deal at the moment unless we see something very positive coming out on the fundamental point of view. Okay, dollar yen. Well, where it's sitting there, it's edging its way back towards the monthly, I say back towards it, but towards the monthly R1 there, and those prior highs at 108.86 at the moment. Slight retracement at the moment, but got a weekly pivot just below us, but overall that would change the pattern, and it has actually changed the pattern. It has put a lower high in here, but all the same, I'm still thinking upside, and once again, if you want to be a sort of wait and be a bit patient, just wait for a trend line break across the highs there to give you the sort of the upside potential there. And as I said, really looking back in the bigger picture, maybe over a day or two, looking at that 108.42 area, the prior highs. Okay, that's the dollar yen. Aussie dollar. Aussie dollar seems weak to me. It's sort of working out, ready to drop again at some stage. It's pretty close, if not touching the oh, it's touched its weekly pivot. That's done, but it does look like it could just trickle over from where it sits at the moment. It's very choppy over the last few days. Maybe we'll see continuation of that, but intraday wise, it's off the radar for me, as is the Canadian dollar. But I will take a look at it from a bigger picture here, and well, you can see the chop continues. Really, it did break down below its daily 50 last week, but really just managed to pull back towards it. It should be stronger than it is, but fundamentally I think it's maybe we're preparing for something less good. Weekly pivot above at the moment, which may just draw it up, but as I said, the ranges are poor. The overall movement there not great. Finishing off on New Zealand dollar, as I was mentioning this last week with its extreme, it has actually pitched lower than prior lows there. It's not looking great, although as I said, there is some extreme sort of numbers coming out on the COT sentiment. It may not be ready yet. It may need further lows, but we'll see. But at some point it may get a bounce, but with poor data coming out, as we've seen there, it's not helped the case. Weekly pivot above, but maybe it's still got a chance of pushing up, but we'll see how it runs. That's pretty much it today, as I covered the fundamentals at the beginning. Have a great one. Bye for now.